Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight for our first virtual financial literacy workshop. We're going to have a norm set, and that is that we try to begin on time so we can end on time for the sake of our presenters, and we know everybody's busy. So I'd like to begin by introducing my staff and then allow Richard to introduce his staff, Mr. Simons. And so I'm Dr. Flores. I'm the Director of Educational Talent Search. So thank you for joining us. Mr. Gilo is our Senior Advisor for Educational Talent Search. He works at all of our nine schools, working specifically with 12th graders. Mr. Acosta will be working at all of our 9 schools, working specifically with 10th graders and 11th graders. And Ms. Green is our 7th, 8th, and 9th grade advisor. And a special thanks goes out to her. She was assigned the task of taking care of this and making sure it was organized and reaching out to all the people. So thank you so much, Ms. Green. That was very, very nice and helpful. Appreciate that. And then we have Ms. Becerra, who's our our administrative assistant. And then we have Ms. Gonzalez, who is our program assistant. So that is my team. I'm going to introduce Mr. Simons to ask him to please introduce the financial coaching and lab employees.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Flores. My name is Richard. I'm with the College of Public Service at UHD. Thrilled to be with you all here this evening. And the College of Public Service, we oversee and work in the Financial Coaching and Economic Stability Lab with the goal to provide financial literacy coaching to UHD students in the surrounding Houston area through training, education, collaboration, and research. And tonight, I am so thrilled to be able to introduce you all to Lupe Perez. She is one of our financial coaching scholars. I'll brag on her just a little bit that she is not just one of the first financial coaching scholars at UHD, but she's one of the first financial coaching scholars at any institution throughout the country. So we are thrilled that she is with us here. She will be graduating in less than 2 weeks. So we are thrilled that she's joining us, and she's looking to apply and go straight into her graduate degree come the spring. And so we are thrilled she's here. And she's going to be sharing some information with you all about basics of financial literacy, how to work with it. But specifically, she was where you were not too terribly long ago, looking at college and saying, I want to go, I need to go, I'm excited to go, but finances plays a role in it. So I'm going to start talking and introduce Lupe Perez. She's fantastic, and I'm so thankful that she was able to join us here this evening. So thank you for being with us, Lupe.
Thank you. Awesome. That was a great presentation, great announcement. Well, my name is Lupe Perez. I am a senior student here at UHD, and let's say, first generation, mom, dad couldn't help me. It's okay, it's hard. College is hard, university is hard. So a couple years ago, being a senior, being like, I want to go to university. I'm going to pay for that. Enrolling into community college and going through all the steps. I did create a presentation that has all the steps, so I'll go ahead and share that. And let's get started. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat or raise your little hand. And of course, I hope that this is helpful and that you can always refer back to this as a sort of helping and jumping point, okay? Awesome. Let me go ahead and find my little presentation and get started. Let me see. Slideshow.
Okay, Lupe, if I may interject, please, I'm going to ask any of the participants that are also viewing your Financial Literacy 101 PowerPoint, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat box, and we'll make sure at the end of the presentation that these are all answered. And if we don't have time, I'm sure Lupe will be happy to answer these for you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, starting financial literacy, what is it? It's understanding what do you understand of budgeting, expenses, what's coming in, what's coming out. In my position as an intern for Wesley Community Center, I have developed budgeting skills. I have developed and helped many others develop those skills. So I'm hoping that this helps you just a little bit. So let's get started. A little summary about me. I'm finishing my bachelor's of social work here at UHD. My goal is to be a therapist, a mental health therapist, and get my license as a clinical social worker. I graduated from high school a couple of years ago from Porter High School up north. I decided to go to community college, which I don't know, but back when I was a senior in high school, community college didn't have the best reputation, which hopefully now that it has changed, because it was actually one of the best decisions that I took, because community college was way more affordable than going straight into a 4-year institution. Plus, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was a senior. I was like, I know I want to do something, but I don't know. Going to community college helped me look for options, talk to people, do all that stuff. Then I transferred to the University of Houston downtown to pursue my social work bachelor. So that's a little bit of history on me. How did I pay for college? All throughout day one, scholarships. In the area where I live, they provided one scholarship from the, what was it called? Commerce building. So I applied for that scholarship. That was like the first scholarship that I ever applied. Then of course, FAFSA, applied to FAFSA. And lastly, work study. Work study means that I got extra financial aid from FAFSA, and I worked for one of the departments in the community college that I went to, which I worked for the Student Life Center. It was so much fun. I talked to people my age. I worked hosting events, did outreach events. So it was such a fun experience. And that's how I paid for college. Community college was way more affordable than a 4-year institution. So my FAFSA money, I had an extra left over, which helped me pay for books, transportation, and such things. And that's one of the things I do want to talk to all of you about, is how to budget that extra finance. Moving on. What are your options? If you're a resident of Texas and federal, you are able to apply to FAFSA. FAFSA gives you the opportunity to qualify for grants, loans, right? And work study options. These are some of the things that you can apply. Part-time positions are usually 20 hours, and you get to work for the several departments in the universities. Also in my community college and also at UH, I was part-time. I had part-time positions, just like I said before. I was a student assistant for the lifetime student life. And then at UHD, I was a student assistant for the College of Public Service, where I was an assistant for professors. So I got to create that connection with professors that I had classes with. So it did give me a good opportunity to network. So just FYI, it's always a good option. And student loans. The next options that you have to pay for your education would be local scholarships. These are some of the places that I actually went through to apply for scholarships: Greater Houston Community Foundation Scholarship and the Major Office of Education. Those are Houston-based. So if you lived within HISD or within the bounds of the Houston metropolitan area, you're able to apply to those to websites. And what it is a center where you find even more scholarships. Very helpful, very helpful. And later on, I will show you how that looked a little bit. And the last one is non-college part-time jobs. Those are jobs in the universities that are not paid through FAFSA or through financial aid. They're actually paid by the programs grants that they have within those departments. So you're not getting financial aid from FAFSA. You're actually getting it from that specific department. That is very helpful for people that couldn't apply for FAFSA, who are international students and such. So always keep an eye out just in case you don't qualify for FAFSA. And just here how I have on the right side. If you're a DACA recipient, you most likely cannot qualify for FAFSA, but you can apply for the Texas and Finance for Students, TASFA. That is similar to FAFSA, but in the Texas level, so state level, while FAFSA is a federal level. And you can actually apply to this, and you don't have to have like citizenship or anything like that. The second option is the Dream Scholarship. I've had several friends that applied to this, and they actually provide full ride scholarships to universities. And it's a very easy process. And definitely, if you have any more questions about the Dream Scholarship, let me know and I can help you go through all that process. But those are some options just in case you cannot qualify for FAFSA. Moving on, how to manage your financial aid. Let's see. It's how can I say this? It's around what I've seen on average for me and my other fellow classmates. Um, FAFSA bases how much they help you on what you reported, but it's usually around a certain amount because they have to give around the same amount to most students. And that amount, it's usually around $3,000 to $4,000 per semester, a total of around $7,000 per year. Sometimes, for example, when I was in community college, that was more than enough. But when I transferred to a four-year institution, not so well, but I had to manage how was I going to use this amount. I do know that some students use this financial aid money, to splurge themselves a little bit, which it's up to them. But just how I learned for the financial coaching, you need to give your money a job. Whenever you get that money, that scholarship, okay, make sure that you create a budget. Number 2, create a budget. See what you need to spend before you actually spend it. That way, when you have any left over, you don't feel guilty about spending it. So when you give your money a job, you create a budget, you look at, especially school-related, school supplies, food, transportation, living expenses, and all that stuff, and you lay out that breakdown of money. Also, with your financial aid money, it's usually distributed to your bank account or a bank account. By the time that you reach college, most of y'all would be 18, 19. So you're able, and even if you're under 18, you're able to open a bank account where you can put all the money in. So I definitely advise to keep track of it. Look every so often, every week. It's a good way to keep what's going on. And lastly, monitor your credit report. Especially to those who do get loans, they're going to be in your credit report for life. And it's a good way to look around and see, like, how is it being tracked and if it's reported well. If it's not reported well, you would be to do a credit report dispute. And that's a whole nother thing, but at least you can keep track of that. Because what I've seen through my internship as a financial coach is that a lot of people are not keeping track, it gets out of hand, and it becomes a monster. If you're able to look at it while it's happening, you know what's going on. It's not as scary. Moving on. Just like I said earlier, creating a budget. This is how I track my scholarships, which I would recommend everyone. And when I learned how to do this, it was the most helpful thing. When I went in, this is when I transferred from my community college to my university, my four-year institution. I write the scholarships, when they're due, the amount, what I have to do, if I applied, if I got it, the links. This is very helpful to track the possible money that can come in and can track, can keep me up to date because we want to stay on track. So this definitely helped. And I advise you to create, and I created this on Google Sheets. I can keep it, I can see it on my phone, I can see it on the computer, I can see it anywhere. And it's very helpful. Okay, estimating college costs. Well, just like I put here, it'll differ from school to school. The 3 examples that I put, which are very tiny, but I hope that when you get this presentation sent to you, you can see it a little bit more. But what it is the actual the sites for Lone Star, which is the college that I went to in UHD. All the college websites and university websites will have a tuition and fees site. Just Google the school name that you're interested, tuition and fees, and that they will provide you with a breakdown of the cost of hour, which FYI, I didn't know this when I was your age, but when you're in university, most of your classes are 3 hours, which I was like, what does that mean? So 3 hours that you have to be in class for a span of a week. And what the breakdown of tuition, for example, with this page is credit hour, how much that is in district, out of district, and international, which different, depending where you live, will have how much you'll pay. Other websites will actually have a calculator, like the website for UH main campus. You put in input, and also UHD. You input what's your major, how much are you going to be full-time, part-time student, what level you're in, and such. And it provides you with an amount. What is the amount? What are they going to tell you, right? The amount is tuition per semester and per year, transportation, room and board. This is mainly for those that are going to be living outside of home, and it could mean dorms in the college or an apartment with your friends or roommates, room and board. Food, books, supplies, and miscellaneous extra stuff. This is just like a regular budget created like for like an adult person. You're gonna need to know what all of this is, and the miscellaneous, eating out, would be buying things, that extra money. So this is a way that you can estimate, hey, how much is a year at UH gonna cost compared to UT, UHD, Lone Star, and all things like that. Things to remember. Apply for FAFSA. It opened October 1st of 2020. It opens October 1st every year. If you're a senior right now, apply, because they actually have scholarships, first come, first serve. And if you apply closer to when it opens, you're eligible to get a lot more scholarships. So I advise you to apply then. But if you haven't, just apply now. I believe the deadline for that would be March. So you still have a couple months. And what you need for that is your parents' income taxes. And it's really easy. They also have a IRS tool that drags the IRS information to FAFSA. Very useful, but it's also useful to have your parents' information right next to you when you're filling this out. The TASFA for those who are DACA recipients is January 15, 2021. It's a lot sooner. But I also advise you to apply for that in case if you haven't, And lastly, look up local scholarships, especially if you're living within the Houston area. You qualify for so many things: HISD, Fort Bend, districts like that, Aldine. Anybody living within the city lines has many opportunities. Also, for example, like I mentioned earlier, I applied for commerce, like where I live, New Caney ISD Commerce, and they were providing scholarships, so it was a local one. I also applied for many others, like the Houston Delphian, things that are just in Houston. And what that makes is that the pool of people that you're competing with is a lot smaller. So I advise you to look for local ones. Q&A. Do you have any questions?
So Lupe, I want to jump in real quick. Just something from the lab. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. And talking to students, one thing that I've heard many, many times is, well, applying for scholarships takes time. Well, we know it takes time and we know it's things to do, but I want you to think about it real quick that if it's going to take you, if you could possibly get $1,000 and it takes you 10 hours to do, that's like working a job getting paid $100 an hour. Mm-hmm. So as you're thinking about that, if I could ask for hands, who wants to work a job making $100 an hour, right? Everybody on this call is saying, that's me. So I want you to think, yes, you invest some time, but it can pay off very, very well in the future.
Yes, and you're also going to have to get used to a lot of writing in university. So I think this definitely writing for scholarships is a good start. Most of scholarships are asking you, like, what are you going to do with this money? Why do you think you deserve, so quote, this money? They ask you for your experience. Like for a lot of the scholarships that I applied for, they ask, why do you need this? And I was like, well, I'm a first gen student. My brother at that time, he was also going to college with me. So imagine my parents paying for 2 universities. No. So I told them about that. I told them how I'm a woman, I'm a minority. And I told my story. And when they hear the story, they know. And be open, you know, and that will open many other doors. With the Q&A, I also wanted to tell y'all or show you my, let me see if it's moving. It doesn't move. Okay, my contact information. Please use me as a big sister. You are more than welcome to email me to my Gator mail, perezg61@gator.uhd. I didn't have anybody to help me when I was going through all of this, so I hope that you can feel free to message me like, hey, Lupe, I saw your presentation, help me, and I'll definitely see how I can help you. But going back to the Q&A, if there's anything that I can help you, let us know. And you can put it in the chat or raise your hand or anything, just let us know, okay?
There
We
is one
did have a-
question.
Lupe
Yeah.
made a very good point earlier, guys, and that is I'm on the board for the University of Texas Admissions Department. And every time we meet, they always talk about all the essays you have to write to get into college. And what these readers look for is exactly what Lupe talked about. They're looking for your personal story. Do not be ashamed to talk about it, spill your heart out, make your essay stand out from everybody else's. So thank you so much, Lupe, for bringing that up. And we have time for just a couple more questions. If anybody wants to add anything or has a question.
We
Yeah,
did have
there-
a question in the chat. Jose is an 11th grader and he wants to know if he should apply for FAFSA or wait until next year. I did address it in the chat, but if you just want to answer that as well.
Yeah, right now wouldn't be a good time just because when you're going through the FAFSA application, it asks you what four-year institution you're going to be. Right now, you probably don't know yet, and they're not able to go that far ahead. So apply that first. Put if you can put a memo right now on your phone for October 1st, 2021, do it because you're gonna forget. I forget every year. You would think that by now I'd be like, wow. No, I have to write it in, be like October 1st, apply because just like when you're applying for classes, it's a competition and you need to apply first thing. Have everything ready by then.
Guys,
To add a little bit to that, I assume you've gone through the FAFSA process a couple of times, you know, and it can be a pretty complicated process. Like, what are some tips that you might have that you wish you would have known the first couple of times that you filled out the FAFSA?
Yes. Always FAFSA, a very convenient tool. Like they've gotten better over the years. You can actually copy and paste kind of like they offer that option to use some of the information from the previous years. So if everything's the same with your parents' information, just reuse that information. Also, I mentioned in the presentation that you can connect the IRS that when you're going through the application, it's like, do you want to connect your IRS information? Which either way, you're going to have to input it. So why not get that automatic connection? Use it. I don't know why. Me and my parents, again, first time we had never done this. We didn't use that and we had to manually put that in. And then I had to do verification process for all of that. So after that, I always connected the IRS or utilized the tool, connected it, didn't have the problem anymore. I didn't know it was going to be that easy. It was just really they already have all your information and your parents' information with, I mean, you know, like the socials, the address, things like that. So it's not dangerous, very secure websites. So just utilize the things that they provide.
We have one more question for you and that we have time for.
Uh-huh.
And then we'll conclude this. But first of all, thank you so much for being here, because I think what you're giving everybody is experiential knowledge that you went through. So my question to you, so you can address everybody, is, you know, we always know then. So is there something that you would like to share with the participants that are viewing right now that you wish you had known when you were a senior in high school transitioning to college, even a community college, that you know now, that you wish you had known then?
I think utilizing what resources my high school's giving me and then utilizing the resources that the college and universities were providing me. What I mean with that is like the career services, guidance counselors. I think when I graduated, I didn't know what I wanted to do. When I was at community college, I started because I got very involved in things like that. But then I also used my career coaches at the Lone Star and then at UHD that helped me figure out what career I wanted to do. So I think if anything, I would have done that way sooner. I think I was hesitant because I was like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But by talking to the career coaches and the guidance counselors, it was like, oh, like with social work, I didn't know I wanted to do social work almost till my third year of university. I was like, oh, you're telling me what is social work? Let me look it up. And then we had that talk, and then they were like, you're gonna be perfect for social work. And I was like, oh, maybe I am. And then I looked it up and got into an intro class, and I was like, wait, this is it. Like this is I feel like this is for me. And I wish I had done that like years. Like at this time, university has taken me a little longer. So I think by utilizing those resources, it would have shortened the time that I've been at university. But I learned from my experience. So I hope that by telling you, you can utilize that experience and be like, hey, let me go to my guidance counselor. Let me go right now. Let me see if they have any assessments that they can help me to figure out who I am. Because we don't know who we are, do we? But utilize that. Utilize the assessments that they can provide you with. That's going to be very helpful.
Yeah, there was a question in the chat from Jose. He asked something along the questions of what he should study, and I think you answered that really well with that question, Jose. Reach out to your counselors. Reach out to us as well.
That is your $1 million piece of advice right there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we could spend all night with you. We want to thank you so much.
If we're able, there's one more question, Dr. Flores. I'm sorry, and I think it's a really good question because I certainly didn't know this when I was 18. So I'm sorry. But there was a student, Aleda, if you're under 18, she's asking, how do you open a bank account to save money?
There's some options, actually. Mainly, I know this because I'm going through that with my little brother. He's your age. So we looked at options because for most banks, you do have to be 18 and over, an adult. But there's some options like Capital One that your parent can be like that. I forgot what the word was. Secured account. Yeah, guardian. And they don't have access to your information because just in case, you're the primary prime holder of your account, they just back you up in case there's any issues because the bank doesn't want to, it's a risk for the bank to have people that are not making money, right? But many banks also know that university, having those savings accounts for students. So the bank account that I'm talking about is a bank account, like a checking account, like all of us have. So just look around for options. One of the ones that I saw that's very convenient was Capital One teen checking account. Very easy. No annual fees, if I believe so. If they are, they're very minimal, just because they know you're a student, we're poor. So utilize that. Later on, when you're 18, if you want to open another bank account, it's not a scary process. I held on to my bank account way too long. It wasn't a good bank. It's not a scary process. If you want to change to another bank when you're 18, be like, hey, I'm just going to transfer over. Most banks now, their app are amazing. So just go through the process when you hit that 18. But look around, shop around for some, but Capital One is a good one. Not a spokesperson for them, obviously, but good one.
Great question. Can you please give everybody your email address one more time?
Oh, yes. I'll put it in the chat, but it's going to be Perez G61 at gator.uhd.edu. There you go.
Again, the entire staff at Talent Search University College, UHD, thanks you, Lupi, for coming and spending your time, and Mr. Simon, your time as well. Lupi, you gave an excellent presentation. I hope our students enjoyed it as much as I did. Please come back. Please come back and talk to us again.
Oh, yeah.